Morning, sir. Morning.
So stop what you can. I want to adjust that mic up just a little for you. There you go, thank you.
And officer, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Dominic Valele, Valaile.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sir, how are you employed?
Police officer with the city of San Diego.
How long have you been working in that capacity?
About 2 years now.
Do you recall back in November 5th, 1989, at approximately 7:30 in the morning, which was a Sunday, being on patrol with your partner, Lisa Cook?
Yes.
And at that time and that date, did you receive a radio call to respond to a possible homicide at 1041 Cypress?
Yes, I
in
did.
the city and county of San Diego?
Yes, I do.
Is that in the Marsden Hills neighborhood of Hillcrest?
Yes, it is.
And did you and your partner, Lisa Cook, then arrive at the scene?
Yes, we did.
You're both in the same patrol car?
Yes.
When you got there, what did you see?
There were two men coming out of the front door of the house, and one of them asked us to call an ambulance.
Do you recall the names of these two men?
I believe it was Brian Forbes and Bradley Wright.
Did you happen to recognize Mr. Forbes as one of the gentlemen leaving the courtroom as you came in?
Yes, I did.
And you recall what specifically Mr. Forbes or Mr. Wright told you when you approached them?
That's the first thing they said was call an ambulance. There's two people up in the bedroom that had been shot.
Do you recall which of them said that?
No, I don't remember.
And what did you do in response to that?
We asked them to show us where the bodies were.
And did they?
Yes, they did.
Tell us how that happened.
We walked into the house, went upstairs, and went into the upstairs master bedroom. And after we had found the bodies, we asked the two men to leave.
When you first entered the master bedroom and the upstairs of the residence, what did you see?
I saw a female laying on the edge of the bed and a white male laying on the floor beside the bed.
What were their conditions as you observed them to be?
They were dead.
How did you find that out?
I went and checked their pulse on both the victims.
And where do you do that on the bodies?
On both of them, I checked the pulse in the carotid artery in the neck.
And what did that indicate to you?
There was no pulse. Both bodies were cold.
Did you move the positions of either body as you checked on the carotid arteries of both of them?
No, I didn't.
What did you and Officer Cook do next?
We then checked the rest of the house for any other victims or possible suspects, and that we didn't find anything else in the house.
Didn't find anybody else inside the house at that time?
No, we didn't.
In your check, did you or Officer Cook move anything or disturb anything in the house?
No, we didn't.
Did you touch any windows or window shades?
No.
Or doors of any nature?
To open doors, we touched doorknobs. Other than that, no.
After you made the search, what did you do at the scene?
We then closed up the house. We went outside and didn't allow anybody else in until the homicide unit arrived.
That would have been Homicide Team 6?
I don't remember which team it was.
That would have been a number of detectives that's attached to the homicide squad?
Yes.
And until they arrived, is it fair to say you allowed nobody to go in or out of the house?
Yes, that's correct.
And while you were making your search, Mr. Forbes and Mr. Wright were outside the residence?
Yes, they were.
And you didn't observe them to touch anything inside the residence, did you?
No, I didn't see them touch anything.
I will show you what has been already marked as People's Exhibit 4. Are you familiar with what's in those two photographs labeled A and B?
Yes, those are the two bodies that were in the upstairs master bedroom.
And is this a fair and accurate representation as to both of these photographs of the position and condition of the bodies when you first came into the master bedroom with Mr. Forbes and Mr. Wright?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Officer Allen?
Officer, you remember one of the people telling you to call an ambulance, is that correct?
Yes.
Did either one of them tell you that people were dead up there?
No.
So you knew someone was hurt, but you had no idea that people were dead, is that correct?
That's correct.
And who led you upstairs?
Both the gentlemen that were outside.
Okay, did you follow them, or did they tell you where to go?
We followed them upstairs.
Okay. Did they appear to be upset?
Yes, they did.
Okay, were they running upstairs?
Yes.
Okay. And during that You indicated that after you checked the bodies and believed that the people were dead, were the two people still in the house?
No, they weren't.
Okay. When did they leave?
After we arrived upstairs in the bedroom, I asked them both to wait outside.
Okay, so as soon as you arrived in the bedroom, you asked them to go outside?
Yes.
And did you check the scene, did you check the house for any other people in the house?
Yes, I did.
Did you check the house to see if there was any break-ins or?
I was more concerned about other people. I really didn't check for break-ins.
Okay. Did you check for any weapons? Or was it just people that you were?
Just people that I was looking for.
Okay, so you wanted to make sure there was nothing that presented a danger to you or anyone else, and then you were going to secure the scene?
Yes, sir.
And so I take it that you did not do any investigation other than just to search various rooms in the house, just make a quick check of the house, make sure there was no one there.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Was your partner, you know what your partner was doing while you were checking the people?
She was standing right there beside me.
When you say the people were coming out the front door, were they already out the door when you were pulling up, or had they already, or were they just opening the door and coming out?
From what I remember, the door was already open and they were walking out of the door.
Did you find any pets at the house?
I don't remember any pets, no.
No further questions.
Redirect.
None, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mayor. This witness is excused.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Burkoff?
No objections.
Thank you very much. You're free to leave.
Thank you.
And officer, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
It's Terrence DeGelder, D-E-G-E-L-D-E-R.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Can you tell us what you do for a living?
I'm a police officer with the city of San Diego.
And what particularly do you do with the San Diego Police Department?
Right now, I'm in charge of the Northern Area Beach Team, a sergeant.
As a supervisorial position?
Yes,
Prior to being a sergeant, were you a homicide detective in, say, November of 1989?
yes, I was.
At that time, how long had you been a homicide detective?
Approximately a year.
And overall, how long have you been a police officer?
Been a police officer 18 years.
Calling your attention, Sergeant DeGelder, back to November 5th, 1989. Do you recall approximately 8:15 on that day receiving a call to respond to a double homicide at 1041 Cypress Street in the city and county of San Diego?
Yes, I did.
And did you go to that area?
Yes.
What was the weather condition when you were en route?
It was a cloudless day, about 70 degrees. Streets were dry.
And you arrived at approximately 8:45 that morning?
Yes,
Were you at that time part of a homicide team 6?
yes, I was.
Tell us about the homicide team concept.
Well, each homicide team is, when we get dispatched to a homicide, we divide up the work. Some officers will, detectives will interview witnesses, suspects, and one will be assigned to the crime scene, and I was assigned to the crime scene that morning.
And that being the Dan and Linda Broderick residence at 1041 Cypress?
Yes,
Now, I take it Team 6 was the homicide team that relieved Officers Cook and Belaley, who were securing the scene at that point?
yes.
And when you arrived, what in particular did you do?
I went to meet my sergeant, Jerry Calloway, and the two patrol officers that were dispatched to the scene.
And at that point, were you briefed briefly, I guess, on what had happened?
Yes.
What did you do next?
I entered the crime scene with my sergeant, went up upstairs and took a look around and then came back out.
Did you enter the master bedroom at the top of the stairs?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you see there?
There were two people apparently shot to death. One was on the bed and one was on the floor.
Now, are you aware of a videotape of the Dan and Linda Broderick residence being made approximately 2 weeks after the homicides?
Yes.
And does this videotape accurately and fairly show the condition of the residence as it was when you entered on November 5th, 1989?
Yes.
Are there any changes in the videotape compared to what you saw when you entered the residence on November 5th?
Well, of course, it doesn't show the bodies, and some items of evidence are missing.
So the scene was essentially cleaned up before the video was taken?
Yes.
Now, I think with the court's permission, we can roll the video at this point.
Certainly, go ahead.
Thank you. I don't think this is going to leave us in the dark, Your Honor. Now, Sergeant DeGeller, could you come off of your seat here? I'm going to start the video, and you can just briefly narrate. You need a pointer. Here's a pointer for the jury. If you can stand to the side so all the members of the jury panel can see that. We'll start this up.
Technical difficulties, Your Honor.
Why don't you show it or tell us what's being shown at this point?
This is the front of the house at 1041 Cypress. The driveway going down. This house faces the north.
Can all the jury members see?
From the front door, directly north. This is Cypress Street out there. It's the driveway on the west side of the house. Back door on the south side leads into the kitchen. This door there is just a room right off the kitchen. Where's the kitchen? This is the view of the front door. It's a staircase going upstairs. It's a landing on top of the stairs here. That window faces south. This door here leads into the master bedroom. That door there leads to an off little patio, outside patio. That's our bed.
Set the position of the bed. as it occupied that room when you first viewed the bodies on November 5th, 1989?
Yes. This is down the hallway, going north on the hallway. There's a room here, which is just like a TV room. That's on the other side of the master bedroom. And there's a TV room. You go right here through this door, and you're back into the master bedroom. Entertainment center, there's a TV and stereo in there. And this is the door going out of the master bedroom back in the hallway, out of the stairs. And down the stairs to the front door again. The left, this way is the dining room. If you go right, you go into the living room.
Thank you. Why don't you resume the seat, please? Should we just take this out of the courtroom? That's fine. Now, Sergeant DeGelder, is it fair to say that part of your job as a homicide detective at the scene to supervise and direct the photographing of the scene?
Yes.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes.
Tell us how it is that you go about photographing the homicide scene.
Well, we start at the outside of the house, and the evidence technician takes overall photographs of the outside, and then we work our way inside, photographing inside the house and then up to the bedroom, and then we photograph everything in the actual crime scene.
And when you're doing this photographing, is this before anything is touched?
Yes.
Here I have a poster board with 3 8x10 photographs depicting interior shots of a residence. I would like to mark people's next in order.
People's 5.
Thank you. I suppose it might be better to
Okay.
get down here. You don't mind standing for a while, do you? Okay. tell us what A on People's Exhibit 5 depicts?
This is a hallway on top of the stairs, and it leads to that TV room I mentioned in the video off to the right. And this way is to another bedroom, I believe.
And
The landing and the door to the master bedroom is before this.
can you point where that would be?
Well, it'll be here.
Right at the margin of the photograph on the
Yes.
right-hand side as you look at it. Now, what about photograph B? What does that depict?
Well, this is the view that you would get when you walk through this door. This is the TV room and part of the master bedroom.
And when you say this door, for the record, you're pointing to photograph A and the door that's next to these lights that are on in the hallway?
Yes.
You're going to have a single 9x11 square photograph of an interior shot of a residence. I like that. Mark People's Exhibit 6.
Yes, I so marked.
Now I'll show you People's Exhibit 6. Are you familiar with that particular shot?
Yes.
What is that?
This door here on photograph B that leads into the master bedroom.
Okay. And what about on People's Exhibit 5, photograph C?
This would be the view when you enter from the TV room into the master bedroom. This would be that view.
And tell us about the windows that are shown in that particular photograph.
These windows are on the south wall, facing south.
Now, looking at the condition of the shades and the curtains, were those the condition of the shades and curtains when you first came into the master bedroom that morning of the homicide?
Yes.
Were they in the same position as they are shown in photograph C?
Yes.
Are all these photographs a fair and accurate depiction of the 1045 Cypress homicide scene when you were there on the 5th of November?
Yes.
This is what happens when you have too many photographs. Now, this is already labeled People's Exhibit 3, man. That's why I couldn't find it. I had another number on it. But are you familiar with what's depicted in those two photographs? Yes. And starting with the top one, photograph A, why don't you tell us about that?
This is the entrance to the master bedroom, right at the top of the stairs. We went in that door there. This is the view.
And B would be a view as you enter the master bedroom from the door that would be at the top of the stairs.
Yes.
Could you move a little bit? I think we'll have some chairs and some problems. Now tell us about the windows that you see in both of these pictures.
Well, this is the door that leads out to that small outside patio.
And the condition of the window shades and curtains, well, there are none in that particular view. Is that condition of the window at that point?
Yes.
When you came in on November 5th?
Yes.
Now, you identify for the jury People's Exhibit 1, specifically photograph D. Are you familiar with that depiction?
Yes.
And can you, using, let's say, this black marker, circle the two south-facing windows of the master bedroom that Dan and Linda Broderick occupied?
Photograph D right here.
And did you also make an inspection of the exterior of the residence for any signs of forced entry?
Yes.
And what did your search reveal?
Well, we found there was forced entry at this window here, depicted in photograph D, circled in red here. And that's the window we were reading that Brian Forbes entered initially.
Did you find any other evidence of forced entry besides that particular window?
No.
Now, did you recover any bullets from the homicide scene?
Yes.
Where were those bullets recovered?
We found one on the landing outside the bedroom. We found one in a nightstand. We found one underneath Dan Broderick's body and one underneath Linda Broderick's body.
I'll show you what has been previously marked as People's Exhibit 4. Is this the condition of the bodies when you viewed them when you first came upon the bedroom on November 5th?
Yes.
And after you viewed the bodies and took the photographs, did you then remove the bedclothes from the bodies?
After the bodies are removed, yes.
Prior to the bodies being moved or afterwards?
After.
Was there a time before the bodies were removed that you took the bedclothes off of them?
Yes.
And I'll show you People's Exhibit 7. Does this show the position of the bodies after the bedclothes were removed, but prior to the bodies themselves being moved in any respect?
That's correct.
Could you move back just a little bit so the jurors can see that? And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the position of the bodies before they were moved in any respect, but after the bedclothes were taken off of them?
Yes.
For the record, though, that's one photograph.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yes, that's 1 8x10 photograph. Thank you. Now, in the bedroom, did you then seize certain items and process them into evidence with the aid of your evidence technician?
Yes.
For the record, I have a poster board containing 8 8x10 photographs. I like that mark equals 8 and 8. Now, are you familiar with the items that are depicted in People's Exhibit 8?
Yes.
And does this show the position of various items of evidence prior to them being moved, processed into evidence?
Yes.
And is it a fair and accurate representation as to all 8 photographs of the position of the various items that you subsequently seized and processed into evidence?
Yes.
Now, you talked about the 4 bullets that were recovered from the scene. Can you now, using People's Exhibit 8, show the jurors where those bullets were found?
Sure. Here's the first one that went through the wall of the bedroom and ended up in on the landing. That's picture B. And the second bullet we recovered was picture G on the bed.
Was that on the bottom sheet that you're talking about?
Yes.
Did you, at some period of time afterwards, as you were processing the scene, remove the top sheet of the bed and look at the mattress pad that was underneath the top sheet?
Yes.
And what, if anything, was there in the mattress pad that you observed?
It was a burrow in the mattress pad.
Was that at the was the bullet that was recovered under Linda's body near that furrow?
Yes.
Now, what about the bullet that was below Dan?
Pardon?
The bullet that was below Dan that was recovered?
That was right here, and depicted in picture D. It was found underneath his body when we looked at his body.
Why don't you use the pointer and show the jury exactly where that is? And again, move you back so all the jurors can see. Thanks.
There's a better picture here of it in C. It's hard to see, but it's right here.
For the record, you're pointing to a black placard, number 3 in the picture, and to the right side of that placard, just adjacent to the placard that's depicted in photograph C. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Could you point it out one more time so we can see it?
Right there.
Okay. Now, the bullet that was found under Linda, how was that discovered?
When we lifted her body off the mattress, we found it underneath.
And what about the bullet found under Dan?
We didn't discover it until his body was actually lifted off the...
Where, to the best of your recollection, was the bullet recovered under Dan's body?
Well, it would be, he was laying on his left side, so it was hidden from view underneath his left side. So we lifted the body up and we could see it.
And did you, when
Upper
you
chest.
I'm sorry.
By the upper chest area.
when you rolled Dan's body over, did you notice any wound to the front of his body?
Yes, he had I noticed one wound in his back, and he had another wound up in the upper right chest.
Can you tell us how close or far in proximity from this wound in his, you said upper chest?
Yes.
Was the bullet recovered?
Just within inches of the wound.
You know whether or not the bullet was still in the wound at that point?
No. Before we lifted him up?
Yes.
No.
Now the other bullet, the last bullet, the bullet that was found on the nightstand, is that shown anywhere?
Yes, that's depicted in picture E. You can see where the nightstand is split. Well, the bullet entered the corner of the nightstand and ended up about 5 or 6 inches into the wood. That's all.
Your Honor, I have a single light with Christie an 8 by 9 by 14 photograph showing a nightstand. People's 9.
So marked.
Show you now People's 9. Is that another view, a close-up view of the nightstand?
Sure.
And can you show us where the bullet was lodged?
It entered right here in the corner and split the wood and went through to approximately here, 4 inches, 5 inches into the nightstand.
Did you
process the nightstand into evidence and take it back to the police department.
Yes.
And at some later time, did you remove the bullet from the nightstand?
Yes.
Now moving on to various pools and stains of blood that are shown on the larger placard people's 8, I believe. Let's look up at exhibit or photo H. Tell us what that shows.
This is the photograph of the bed. Linda Broderick's body was found on this side.
I take it this was after she was removed.
Yes.
Again, can you move back a little bit because we have some jurors in that court.
The body was found on this side of the bed.
And what's depicted there that you saw once you removed the bodies
What did I see? What?
in terms of blood stains and people's age?
These blood stains?
Yes.
Yes, I saw those and the ones on the pillow.
What about photo F? People's age.
And there's blood stains here on the sheets. And of the bed.
And I take it the photo F in people's age shows the bedclothes as they've been rolled back now to reveal the bodies.
That's correct.
What about photo E?
Okay, this is blood stains that were directly underneath Linda Broderick's body.
And that shows the condition of the blood stains on the left side of the bed facing the headboard after Linda's body was removed.
That's correct.
And photo D, people's age. What does that show?
This is blood that was would be directly in front of his face when he was laying down. This is a white, frothy right here that was by his nose and his mouth.
Now, photo D shows a certain amount of bloody froth as you described. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the amount of bloody foam and froth when you first came upon the bodies that morning?
Well, the blood part is pretty much the same, but this frothy, it was a bubble froth, and the bubbles had popped, and this had gone down considerable than when we first got to the scene.
If you feel comfortable doing so, can you tell us percentage-wise how much more of the foam was present over what's shown in photograph D there when you first arrived there and looked at it?
I'd say 10 to 20% larger than is just depicted right here.
Now, did you happen to know the telephone that was disconnected in the hallway area when you went up and processed the scene?
Yes, photograph A depicts the telephone that we found in the landing area right outside the master bedroom.
Now, again, showing you an already marked people's 2, calling your attention to photograph A. In that particular exhibit, is there another view of the telephone?
Yes, here's the telephone here, and here's the entrance to the master bedroom.
Now, on both of those photographs of the telephone, do they both fairly and accurately show the position of the telephone when you first came upon it, when you entered the Cypress address on the day of the homicide?
Yes.
Now, did you make any further investigation to find out where the rest of the telephone cord was?
Yes.
Tell us about that, please.
We went to back into the bedroom and the entertainment center.
two photographs showing the interior of the bedroom labeled A and B. I got labeled pupils 10. So Mark. Now showing you pupils 10. Can you tell us which photograph A shows?
Sure, this is the entertainment center next to the bed, and we discovered the ripped phone line behind it.
Can you point to that for the jurors, Madam?
Depicted in picture B, here's the actual phone line, and it goes to the outlet, which is in the wall behind the entertainment center.
Did you have to move the entertainment center some distance or small distance to reveal what's shown in photograph B there?
Yes.
How much did you have to move it, in what direction?
Well, we moved it away from the wall a few inches so we could unplug the phone line from the wall socket.
And is photograph B taken before or after the entertainment center has been moved?
I believe that's before.
You can take a seat now, Sergeant McGill. Now, did you process the telephone into evidence along with the other items that you removed from the scene?
Yes.
And what about the severed end of the phone cord? Did you do that as well that was found near the jack?
Yes.
I'll hand you a fairly rumpled paper bag here, labeled People's Exhibit 11. Your Honor, for the record, a paper bag containing a telephone line.
This is marked item number 1, and the address and the case number is written on the bag.
Now, you just removed a telephone, irene color with a lot of black grayish powder on it and a silver cord that's been severed at one end, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that the telephone that you seized at 1041 Cypress on November 5th?
Yes.
And is this the condition the telephone was in when it was seized?
Well, aside from the black powder is fingerprint powder.
Is that routine to do once you seize an item of evidence of that nature?
Yes, we dust it for prints after we seize it.
What about the condition of the torn cord? Is that how it appeared when you seized it?
Yes.
Again, I have a small manila envelope that contains a portion of a telephone cord, ripped at one end, and with a telephone cord jack at the other end. I'd like to label People's Exhibit 12.
Maybe so, Mark.
Thank you. I'll hand you People's Exhibit 12. Can you open? It's already been opened. Can you dig your fingers in there and take out whatever's in that envelope? What is that, sir, that you've removed?
This is the telephone cord we removed from behind the entertainment center in the master bedroom.
The one that's been depicted in the photographs you've shown the jury?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you put it back in the envelope, please? And before you do that, is it in the same condition it was when you took it from Cypress after finding it behind the entertainment center?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have 4 more small manila envelopes, each containing a lead projectile like those marked People's Exhibits 13, 14, 15, and 16. There's so marked. Thank you. I'll now show you these 4 manila envelopes marked People's 13 through 16. Why don't we before we do that, why don't we reassemble Exhibit 11 there and put that back in the bag. Are you familiar with those particular envelopes and their contents?
Yes.
And starting off with 13, what does that say?
Okay, this is a bullet that was found on in the landing area. We determined it had passed through the wall of the bedroom.
For the record, did you remove from People's 13 the envelope, the spent bullet?
Yes. Number 14 was found on the floor of the bedroom. This is the one that was found underneath, can't see it too well, found underneath Dan Broderick's body when we removed it. And 15, the bullet that was found underneath Linda Broderick's body when we removed her body. We found this one underneath her body. And number 16, the bullet that was embedded in the nightstand.
Now, did you also seize the bedclothes that were on the bed?
Yes.
What were the items that you seized?
A top sheet, a bottom sheet, and the mattress pad.
Is that the pad that had the furrow in it where the bullet was found?
Yes.
And you processed those into evidence as well?
Yes.
Now, were there any holes found in any of the bedclothes that you seized?
Yes, both the sheets had holes in them.
What about the blanket?
I believe it did.
And other than the furrow in the mattress pad, was there any other deformity to it?
Not that I can recall.
Your Honor, I have a paper bag containing what appears to be a mattress pad. May that be labeled People's Exhibit 17?
Yes.
another paper bag containing a white sheet. May that be labeled People's Exhibit 18?
Yes.
Another paper bag containing another white sheet. May that be labeled People's Exhibit 19?
Very so marked.
Thank you. I will hand you, start off in numerical order here. You got 17. Why don't you describe for us what is in People's Exhibit 17?
This is the mattress cover pad with the red stains and apparent hole in it. This was found on the bed.
That's the pad with the furrow in it?
That's correct.
And People's Exhibit 18?
Okay, this is a sheet with red stains that was found on the bed with an apparent hole in it.
People's Exhibit 19?
Okay, this is also a sheet with apparent hole in it taken from the bed.
Is it fair to say one of these sheets would be the sheet that would cover you if you were lying in bed, and the other sheet would be the sheet that would be over the mattress pad and under you?
Yes.
Can you tell us which one is which from what you've got there?
No, I can't.
Okay. I have a paper bag containing a keychain with a metallic teddy bear as a fob on that keychain. I like that. Mark People's Exhibit 20. So Mark. I'll hand you the bag now. Label People's Exhibit 20 here. I'll take some of those off your here.
The counter will fold down to give you more room if you want.
I've got lots of them. Right. Can you withdraw the contents of People's Exhibit 20, please?
This is a keychain that was given to me by the prosecutor to take back to the residence at 1041 Cypress to see if any of these keys would open any of the doors in the house.
And we're talking about exterior doors?
That's correct.
And you said the prosecutor talking about Kerry Wells?
Yes.
Did you at some date later than November 5th go back to the residence with the keys in People's Exhibit 20 and try them in all the exterior doors?
I did.
How many exterior doors are we talking about here?
Well, downstairs or, let's see.
That you can access the house from the ground level?
I know there were French doors leading off the living room to the outside. There was a door from the study, but I'm not sure if they all had outside locks. But at the time, I checked all the doors that did have locks with this keychain and could not find any of them, any key to work on any of the doors.
Using every one of the keys on the keychain that you have in front of you?
Yes.
Now, in the room that is just off the kitchen and the downstairs of Dan Linda Broderick household, did you find an item of evidence there that you seized and processed as evidence?
Yes.
What is that?
It was a portrait of the Broderick family.
Was there anything unusual about the portrait?
There was a slash through Dan Broderick's face.
Your Honor, I have a framed family portrait, wood frame. I'd like that marked People's Exhibit 21.
We so marked.
can stay where you are. I'll just hold this up. I'll show you the portrait labeled People Exhibit 21. Is this the portrait that you saw in that room next to the kitchen?
Yes,
And can you point out the slash you were talking about?
right there.
That'll be directly on Daniel Broderick's face.
Yes.
And I have no further questions.
Cross-examine.
Yes, thank you. Sir, when you went to the crime scene originally, were there already officers there?
Yes.
And how many would you say were there?
Counting detectives from my team,
Yes.
I'd say 7, 8.
Okay. And you indicated that you would take photographs depicting the scene before you moved anything, is that correct?
Yes,
Then you would take photographs afterwards, is that correct?
that's correct.
Now, you indicated that you found the phone upstairs in the hallway.
Yes.
Did you check to see if the phones in the house were working?
There was a phone downstairs that in the kitchen that had an answering machine, and it was working.
Okay. And was the answering machine on, off?
It was on.
Okay. And were there any lines going into the house, in the bedroom? Was that a different phone in the bedroom than downstairs?
Different phone number?
Yes.
I don't know.
Did you ever try to see?
No.
Okay. Now, during the, when you went into the house, the phone, as you've shown, was in the position that you saw it. Is that correct? It was in the hallway?
Yes.
And showing you what has been marked as 2. There's a picture there with the phone and how the phone appeared to be and how the cord appeared to be. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, at some point in time, at another hearing, you were asked to take the phone and demonstrate how you found it. Remember that?
Yes.
And you remember taking the cord and hanging up the phone and wrapping the cord around the phone?
Yes.
And indicating that's the way you found the phone?
Yes.
Okay. And was that the way you found the phone with the cord wrapped around it?
No.
That was your memory at the time?
At the time, that's what I recalled. Yes.
The, now you indicated that when you went into the bedroom that the position of the sheets, the pictures that have been entered that you've shown was exactly how you saw the scene when you walked in, is that correct? In other words, the showing you what has been marked as equals 5, it shows a blanket, is that correct, in the sheet?
There was that flower thing was a
Comforter?
comforter.
Was there also a blanket?
I believe so. I'm not real sure.
But this is the position of the bedding when you saw it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you indicated that, did you seize the comforter?
No.
Did you seize the blanket?
As best I can recall, we did, yes.
Okay. And the blanket you indicated had a hole in it?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that the top sheet had a hole in it, is that correct?
Yes.
And also the bottom sheet, whichever one was which?
Yes.
Okay. Did you look to see, was one of the sheets fitted? Did you look to see if one of the sheets was a fitted sheet and one was a non-fitted sheet?
Just now?
Did you look at the time? Do you remember looking?
I think one was a fitted sheet. I'm not real sure though. I'll take a look at them.
If you could look at it and tell me
Sure.
if it refreshes your recollection.
Yes.
And which one was it that was
It
fitted?
was the item number 18, was the fitted sheet.
Okay. And does that refresh your recollection? I suppose that the fitted sheet was on the bottom and the other sheet was on top?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you removed the bodies, how did you do that? Did you roll the bodies over, pick them up? How did you do that?
Well, as best I can recall, there were a couple of the medical examiner investigator was there, and he has a team of 2 persons that pick up the bodies. And I don't recall if we helped them do that or they did that on their own. But they were just picked up and then placed into a body bag.
There was nothing done at the scene on the bed to roll them over to see if there was any evidence before you moved them off the bed that you can recall?
I seem to recall the minute they were lifted, the bullets were discovered that were underneath them. And I don't know if we stopped then and recovered the bullets or continued just taking, I think we just took the bodies off and then recovered the bullets later.
And in picture number 8, it shows is that the actual location of the bullet? The one in G?
Yes.
And it shows the furrow, is that correct? And
This would be this right here.
shows the furrow?
Yes.
Okay, and the furrow is some distance, how far would you indicate that it is from the bullet?
Well, it looks on the photo just...
Your Honor, I would object unless you have to prove that the photo will properly show inches. There may be some distortion. I would rather he testify from his knowledge.
Overall, you can answer that if you can.
It appears to be about an inch and a half, maybe.
Does this photo look distorted to you?
You're talking the end of the furrow right here?
I'm just asking
The
you.
beginning of it. Well, it looks to me it's like about an inch and a half from the end of the furrow.
I'm just asking you, does the photo look distorted to you?
No.
Okay. And you can see a hole in the bottom sheet, is that correct, in that photo? Just to the right of the burrow?
I can't see the hole from here, no. What are you talking about?
And you see right here.
Oh, yes. This is the bottom sheet?
Yes.
Yes.
It appears to be, it's a fitted sheet, right?
Yes.
And it appears to be right where it's folded back, there appears to be some kind of hole in the sheet, is that correct?
Yes.
And that would be the hole you're talking about? The hole that you found in the bottom sheet?
Yes.
Okay. And also, you indicated that there was did you measure how far this was away from the side of the bed?
I believe we did this.
Okay. And do you remember how far it was from the side of the bed, the bullet?
I'd have to look at the evidence report.
Okay, do you have that with you?
I think I do. Can I go to my briefcase?
Sure. Go right ahead. Did you write a report with measurements?
Well, the evidence technician that's assigned to the case writes a report. I write a report on the items that were seized, and he also writes an additional report on how he seized them and measurements and stuff like that.
And do you take the measurements?
Sometimes I do, and then sometimes the evidence technician does. And we work together on it.
If maybe I can show you this report, this may help refresh your memory as to how far it is.
Okay, this is the report that says one white mattress cover with red stain and apparent hole. The item was collected from the top of the bed. If you want the exact measurements of that hole, then I think you'd have to go to the report that was done by the evidence technician.
That's your report that you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, but it was the evidence technician's report that would indicate how far for instance, the bullet is from the side of the bed.
Well, some items are measured right on the scene. The hole that's in the sheet may not be measured right there at the scene. It may be taken to the crime lab and measured at the crime lab.
But, so it might not be measured at the scene as to where it's on the bed or how it's pulled on the bed. Is that correct?
The hole?
Yes.
May not be, no.
How about the bullet that's on the bed? Would it be measured how far it is from the end of any particular part of the bed?
Yes, that should be.
And also it would, obviously the furrow would be measured at the time it's on the bed, or would it be measured at a later time?
It would probably be measured at the crime lab.
Okay, so it wouldn't be measured when it was actually on the bed itself?
The missile would be, but not necessarily the hole.
And now where was the hole found in the top sheet?
Where was it?
Yes.
I don't know. That's another. What we do is we take the sheet as evidence, and then it would be measured at the crime lab at a later date.
Well, did anyone look at the time at the scene to determine where? I mean, you had some evidence of where the sheet was at least found at the time you found the bodies. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And at that time, did anyone take any measurements of the top sheet label, that this is the top part of it, towards the top of the bed, this is towards the bottom of the bed, this is towards the right or the left side? Did anyone do that?
At the scene, no. Items like that, we let the crime lab do that.
Okay. But when someone gathers it up, is there a label on the sheet that says, we took this from the top of the bed, this from the foot of the bed, this is from the head of the bed, this is the left, this is the right, this is the part facing up, this is the part facing down?
No.
Okay. But it just goes to the crime lab, and then the crime lab is able to tell from a sheet what is the top and bottom? How do they do that?
Well, like in this case, the bottom sheet is a fitted sheet, and the top sheet is not. So,
Okay. But the top sheet itself, there's no labeling done on it so that we know what was at the head of the bed, what was at the foot of the bed, what's at either side of the bed, how the sheet was located on the bed.
no.
Is anything done on the blanket to determine where the top of which part of the blanket is closest to the head of the bed, which is closest to the foot, what's closest to the side?
No.
And do we know which side of the blanket is up and which side of the blanket's down?
No.
Are they collected separately, the blanket from the top sheet?
Yes.
It appears they are. They're in different bags. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there anything done that shows how the blanket is on the top sheet as the way you find it? I mean, do you put pins through it so that someone can say, okay, they were connected here in such a way? Or any marks?
Well, the best I can recall from this incident, the holes were not discovered until the bodies were removed. So it'd be very difficult to find a hole, you know, with everything is all rumpled up.
So you knew that, at that point in time, you knew that someone had been shot in the bed, is that correct?
When I entered the crime scene, yes.
But you didn't make any effort to be able to determine at a later time where the blanket and the top sheet were in relation to each other?
Well, we know where the body was when we found it. So when a crime lab would measure where the hole is, they could perhaps deduce something from that.
Okay. And who was it that found the hole in the sheet in the top blanket at some later time after it had been removed?
I think the holes were discovered at the scene by Grablin, evidence technician Grablin. I'm not real sure, though.
Okay, well, you're the one who's in charge of the crime scene. You're the police officer who's there, who's the boss, right? The
Well,
crime scene.
we were, yes.
Okay. And you don't recall who found, it appeared to be a bullet hole, is that correct?
Yes.
And you don't remember who pointed that out to you?
I'm trying to recall if I found it or he found it. I really don't remember.
And do you recall taking any measurements at all at the scene when you found the bullet hole to see if it related to anything that was at the scene?
We don't normally do that because it's so difficult to tell when bodies are moving around in a bed exactly what position they were in from a hole, because the sheet is on top of them and it moves when they move, and apparently there was some movement after they had been shot. There was movement on the bed, and of course Dan Broderick's body was on the floor, so he had moved off the bed. So there's really no way of telling exactly what position the sheet was in or the blankets when they got shot.
But when you're doing a crime scene, for instance, when you unmake a bed, you can take the blankets and pull them back and just lay them out at the foot of the bed so you know what position they're in. You could do that, right? So that you basically know what end was tucked here and what end was tucked here on the bed, on the left and the right, and move them back and expose the body. Is that correct?
Yes, you could do that.
Did you do that?
You could do that, yes.
Did you do that?
Well, as far as knowing where they were on the sheets, there was blood stains on the sheets, so you could pretty much tell where their bodies were. They had Linda had a head shot and a chest shot, and he had a shot in the chest. So the blood would be centered primarily on top of in the top area of the sheets and the blankets. It wouldn't, as opposed to the foot of the bed.
Was there blood on the top blanket?
I believe there was.
And did you make any determination where that blood was relationship to blood that was at the scene?
I don't understand the question.
Well, when you took we have in here a picture, what is F8F for identification, is that correct? See that picture?
Yes.
Okay. Was the body removed at that point?
Yes.
Okay, but the blankets in the top sheet are still on the bed, is that correct?
Yes.
And did someone put them back on the bed, or is that where they were moved to?
No, when we removed the bodies, we pulled the top sheet and the blanket off Linda Broderick's body.
Okay. And what does number 8 represent?
I refer to my list.
Sure.
Okay, Adam 8 is one white sheet.
Okay. So because you have numbers there, that doesn't mean it's how you discovered it, is that correct?
No, how we discovered it are the original photographs we take when we first enter the scene. That's how it's discovered. When we go to collect evidence, obviously we can't see some evidence until we do some moving around. And that's how we discovered the bullets. We didn't see them until their bodies were removed.
Were you ever made aware of where in the blanket the bullet hole was? Do you remember where it was?
No.
Did you ever see it?
I really don't recall whether I saw the hole in the blanket or not.
The top sheet, do you remember where in the top sheet the hole was?
I remember it was,
And I'm talking, when I say top sheet, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about the sheet that's on top of the bed, I'm talking about the unfitted sheet.
the fitted sheet.
The unfitted sheet, the one that would be on, the one that you would use to pull over your body when you go to sleep. Do you remember where the hole was on that?
No.
You did not know of the bullet's existence until after you removed the bodies, is that correct? The two, that one that was found on the bed and one that was found on the floor under Mr. Broderick?
We didn't discover those until the bodies were actually picked up.
Did you take measurements of where Mr. Broderick was found in the room? For instance, how far his head was from any wall, how far his feet were?
Yes.
Okay, did you then take measurements at all of the bullet to discover where it was found in the room?
Yes.
Okay, and do you remember where the bullet was found, what the measurements were?
No.
Okay, that was something that you didn't do?
No, there's a report written by the evidence technician that contains those measurements. I'll help him do the measurements, but he's the one that actually writes the report as to what the measurements are.
And so at least the best that you have now is the best of your memory at this point in time is that the bullet was found somewhere in the position of where Mr. Broderick's chest was.
Yes.
Now, as he's facing the bed, and it's on his left side, is that correct? That he's on?
He's laying on his left side?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and his back is away from the bed and he's facing the bed, is that correct?
No. Yeah, his back is away from the bed, yes. His back is facing the wall, and his chest area is facing the bed.
And is the bullet found right under where his side would be, or is it found between him and the bed, or is it found, do you remember where?
It was underneath him.
Okay. Was he wrapped up in bedclothes? You need to see a photo, refresh your memory?
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's apparent he has the part of the sheet and the comforter around it.
And that's in photograph 4B and obviously 4A that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Now, before you remove the bodies, those are the sheets that are pulled away and laid at the end of the bed, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know whether the bullet was wrapped up in the sheet or the blanket or not?
No, it was on the floor directly underneath them.
Well, but do you know whether the bullet was originally in the sheet, and when you pulled the sheet out, it fell out of the sheet? Do you know whether that's the case or not?
That's possible.
Okay. The measurements of
Would this be a good time to take a noon recess?
yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our noon recess at this time. We'll be in recess until 1:30. Please remember the admonition not to discuss the case among yourselves, nor allow anyone else to discuss it with you, nor form any opinions till it's finally submitted to you. Have a nice lunch.
Other things that are in your report that aren't measured, such as the projectiles that were found. Is that correct?
Not by me.
But in your report, you don't indicate any measurements.
That's correct.
Okay. Does that mean that no measurements were taken, or does that mean that those measurements should be in somebody else's report?
No, that means they possibly are in somebody else's report. I don't know. They're not in my report.
Okay, it may mean that the measurements just weren't taken of those.
Yes.
And you don't have any independent recollection of whether items that where there's no measurement indicated in your report, whether in fact those things were measured?
Well, I can tell you our procedure is to measure before we collect any evidence.
Okay, that's your procedure, but you don't have an independent recollection of what in fact you did in this case.
Right.
And so the only ones that you can say for sure that you know are measured are the ones where you actually show a measurement.
Yes.
And the blanket is just something that, you know, that was seized but not brought to the courtroom as far as you know?
As far as I know, yes.
Now the house is situated so that, can you tell me the front door, is it on the east side, west side of the house, do you know?
Front door's on the north side.
The north side of the house? Okay, and the bedroom is on what side of the house?
Would be in the southeast corner of the house.
Okay, so the bedroom has a wall on the back side of the house,
Yes.
and it has a wall on the east side of the house.
Yes, and there's a door there that leads to a outside patio on the east side.
On the east side of the house?
Yes.
Okay, and so, and the hallway runs north of the stairway, does that run north and south?
Yes.
So the top of the stairs would be on the south end of the house, and you'd be walking north as you were leaving the house, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you remember approximately how long you were, at what time it was that you started removing items of evidence, moving the body, moving the sheets? Remember what time it was during the day?
I think the time when the bodies were removed is listed in my report.
Would it help you if I gave you a copy of your report, or do you have one?
No. Do you want me to read this?
If you can just tell me, just refresh it so you refresh your memory as to what time you started to.
It says at 11:30, Dan Broderick is picked up from the floor.
That's 11:30 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay.
And at 11:51, it says both bodies have been removed.
The keys that you found Did you find that the keys fit any item of evidence? Did you ever find anything that those keys fit to?
The only thing I tried were the outside doors to the house. So I don't know, I didn't try the key in anything else.
Okay, so you didn't try any keys in any cars, other homes, anywhere else?
No.
And did you ever get another set of keys to try? To the house?
No.
I have no further questions.
Are you ready? Thank you. The keys that you have in front of you there, Sergeant DeGelder, at the time that you were trying those keys in the house, were you aware how it was the defendant had gained entrance into the house?
No.
And that was one of your purposes in trying to see if those keys in that key ring, that particular key ring, fit into the entrance doors?
That's correct.
And none of them did?
No.
Now, the evidence that you've testified to, that you've shown the jury here, is it normal procedure to collect the evidence and you let the crime lab look for the holes, analyze the blood stains, and look into the smaller aspects of what may be on each piece of evidence?
Sure. There's various items of trace evidence that we can't see when we're at the scene that they're able to, with the devices in the crime lab, to see, such as microscopes or...
Why weren't you in particular worried about locating each bullet hole where it might be on the sheet or blanket or what have you?
Well, we thought there may be some trace evidence also, such as gunshot powder residue, and that's why we collect it, because that sort of evidence can be lost by too much movement.
So if you had, let's say, spread out the blanket or moved it around, or the sheet, things might have come off those pieces of evidence that you might then not be able to recover later.
Certainly.
What is your purpose for photographing the evidence as you've laid out in all these various photographs for us before you move anything or touch anything?
To show what the scene looked like, to preserve what occurred as best we can.
And with the photographs, would you have any problem repositioning the sheets if you needed to do so?
No.
Why didn't you do all the things that Mr. Early, the defense attorney, talked about in terms of writing down what corner each sheet was and how it was positioned on the bed?
Well, it was my opinion at the time that we didn't know exactly where the person was standing when these people got shot, and depending on the distance from the gun muzzle to the actual target, gunpowder residue could come out of the gun and be embedded in the sheets. So we wanted to be careful. We preserved that sort of evidence because it could possibly lead to the distance between the target and the shooter.
Is that something that somebody else in the crime lab does in terms of analysis rather than the first on the scene homicide detectives such as yourself?
Sure, we have a firearms expert at the San Diego Police Department who does that sort of analysis.
Might be called Gene Wolberg.
Yes.
Now, when you rolled Dan's body over, you said you found a spent bullet underneath him. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And let me show you another photograph, if I could. Your Honor, for the record, we have a poster board with 4 11 by 14 autopsy photographs, now marked People's Exhibit 22. So, Mark, thank you. Why don't you just stay where you are? I'm going to put this up on the board right here. Now, looking at People's Exhibit 22, specifically photograph B in the lower left-hand corner as you look at the exhibit here, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the shoulder wound that you saw in Dan Broderick's shoulder and upper chest area when you rolled him over? He was only clad in boxer shorts when you found him?
Yes.
And, well, let's stick with the exhibit here. Can you show us on here approximately how far or close to that particular wound the bullet was as you rolled him over?
Well, I'd say no more than an inch, 2 inches.
And why would that be?
Why was it?
Well, how did you come to that observation?
Well, we picked up his body very carefully, and then the bullet was spotted almost immediately.
On the carpet?
Yes.
Now, referring now to the spent bullet that was found underneath Linda Broderick's body. Again, I'm, for the record, referring to People's Exhibit 8, and within that exhibit, photograph G. You see what I'm talking about here? Now, it's correct to state that that bullet is an inch or so away from the end of the furrow that was found in the mattress pad?
Yes.
And this sheet that's in the upper right-hand corner of G, is that the bottom fitted sheet that overlay the mattress pad?
Yes.
Did you remove that fitted sheet to expose the bullet and the furrow on the mattress pad?
Yeah, we didn't see the bullet until that sheet was removed. The fitted sheet was removed.
Were you looking for a bullet at that time?
No. No, we're just looking for evidence. We started gathering it, and we had covered the sheet and then found the bullet.
Okay. Do you know whether or not you, when you were removing the fitted lower sheet that was over the mattress pad, whether or not that might have caused the bullet to move in some way?
Sure.
And do you know precisely what position the bullet occupied before you removed the fitted sheet that was over it?
Precisely what position, no.
Oh. I take it you couldn't see it at that point.
Right.
I have no further questions, John. Regross? Yeah. Sir, when you tag evidence, you put a little tag on it to let you know. Sometimes you put things on, like you might put a pin or you might put an initial by a piece of evidence to let you know what you found. Is that correct?
Well, the procedure is just like we do here on this. They put it inside an envelope or a container, and then they mark the outside of the container. The actual marking of the evidence is not, some evidence it's done, but stuff like where there's trace evidence or bullets like this, you'll just put it directly in a package and then mark the package.
But now, for instance, when we refer to A, where the bedding is on the bed, were you afraid that by going all the way over to this corner and just pulling out a little bit of the corner of the sheet to mark where it is in relation, how far it was pulled over this way, you were afraid that you would move something that was over here where the shooting was? You were afraid you were going to disturb something?
Well, that's an assumption we could make at the time, that the shooting occurred where the body was finished. That body could have, when the person was shot, they could have started moving. So that not necessarily where they got shot is where the final position is.
I understand that, but were you worried that if you just pulled out a corner of the sheet just so you could put a mark on it to know where it was in relation to the bed, you were afraid that might disturb evidence on it?
I don't know. The concern is not to disrupt any trace evidence.
But when you removed the bodies, you lifted the bodies up and there were people lifting it up. When you look at 8, I believe it is, when you look at 8F, the sheets were left on the bed, is that correct?
Yes, they're photographed.
So when the person was on the bed and they're lifted up, obviously someone got on the bed to do that, didn't they? To lift the bodies? Or they were able to lift the bodies without going on the bed at all?
I think we were able to lift the bodies up. There were enough of us there. And we lifted the bodies up off the bed, as I recall.
Without touching the bed at all?
I'm sure, I don't know.
And it was your memory that it was about 2 inches, about an inch from the wound that you found the bullet?
Yes.
When you look at the photograph, the left arm is on the ground. Is the right arm also on the ground? The right shoulder? Or is he on his side?
Right, I think the photograph speaks for itself.
Overruled, go ahead, you can answer that.
His right arm is on the side. When we lifted the body up, we were able to see the bullet.
This is the position of the body as you found it, right?
Yes.
The wound that's in here to the right shoulder is right up here in the front of the shoulder blade, is that correct?
It doesn't look, it's closer to the floor than is depicted in that photograph, but as you can see, this part of him is down on the floor. He's not completely on his side.
Okay, so in this photograph, he's actually laying flat, not on his side.
Well, not completely flat, no, but we weren't able to see the bullet until we lifted his body up.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Yes.
Detective DeGeller, I'm going to show you People Exhibit 7, which is a photograph of the bodies after the bedclothes have been removed and before the bodies have been moved. How can you show the jury what you're talking about regarding the left shoulder area?
Yeah, he's tilted over so that you can't, he's closer to the floor and you can't exactly see anything on the floor until his body is lifted up. And the bullet was below that, directly, the bullet was on the floor below that, a couple of inches off from that.
Now, when the defense attorney asked you about whether or not the bullet was about an inch or so away from the wound, are you saying that the bullet was necessarily that far away from the wound?
Well, I took it to mean that if the wound is here, then it's just an inch or so from the wound itself. But from the actual distance from the hole to the floor may have been a couple of inches, 3 inches that way. But I was talking about the distance this way on the floor from the wound itself.
Are you saying it was within an inch or two, or that it would have been at least an inch or maybe 2 inches away? Do you understand the difference?
Yeah, it was within an inch or two.
It could have been at the wound, or it could have been as far as an inch or two away from the wound. Is that accurate?
Right.
I'm not putting words in your mouth now?
No.
Okay. Now, going back now to People's Exhibit 4 here, the defense attorney said that you responded to the defense attorney at one point where he was describing the moving of the bedclothes, and you said that could have caused the bullet to move. Do you remember that?
Right.
Could you go into that a little bit more?
Well, the bullet was underneath him, so I don't know, it had to have passed through the bed sheets and blanket before it went into him.
But are you saying that if you came upon Daniel Broderick as he lay here, and assuming that the bullet was down below him, moving the sheets would not have caused the bullet to move?
Oh, no. No.
Are you,
The bullet was directly underneath him, and
are you,
no moving the sheets would not have affected the position of the bullet, no.
are you telling the jury that moving these sheets to get the sheets and the bedclothes away from Daniel Broderick's body would or would not have disturbed the position of that bullet as you found it?
Would not have.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Would it be excused?
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
And officer, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Richard Allen, A-L-L-E-N.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Detective Allen.
Good afternoon.
For whom do you work?
The San Diego Police Department.
In what capacity?
I'm a homicide investigator.
How long have you been employed in that capacity?
About 5.5 years,
And how long have you been a police officer with the San Diego Police Department?
17 and a half.
Calling your attention to November 5th, 1989, where you was assigned as a homicide detective to Team 6.
Yes, I was.
And on that date, were you called to investigate a homicide, a double homicide that occurred at 1041 Cypress Street in the city and county of San Diego?
Yes.
Tell us what you did at that time.
Well, we arrived at the scene, and after a briefing conducted by some officers that were there, members of the team were given various assignments.
What was your assignment?
My assignment was to make contact with the daughter of the suspect in the case,
And which daughter would that be?
Kathy Broderick.
Did she also go with the name of Lee?
Yes,
Kathy Lee, I guess would be right.
correct.
Did you make contact with Kathy Lee on the 5th of November?
Yes, I did.
How was that accomplished?
She was contacted by patrol officers who had been watching a residence belonging to Betty Broderick. And when they saw Kathy, they made contact with her and then notified me. And I met with her at the area of Cass and Garnett and Pacific Beach. That's near Kathy's home.
Would this happen to be the Home Federal Savings parking lot at Pacific Beach?
Yes,
And this is close to Kathy Lee's apartment on Sapphire Street in that same location?
that's correct.
Why was it that you chose to meet with her in the parking lot rather than at her apartment?
There were officers in the area of her apartment on a surveillance because the vehicle that was being driven by Mrs. Broderick had been seen at that location. So officers were there standing by in case they were to see Betty Broderick there.
That would have been an 87 Chevrolet Suburban recreational truck
Yes,
with some license plates, Load 'em Up, L-O-D-E-M-U-P.
yes, that's correct.
And did you see that vehicle later parked near the residence of Kathy?
Yes, I did.
Where was it parked precisely?
Almost directly across the street from her apartment. Her apartment is on the south side of Sapphire Street, so this vehicle would have been on the north side of Sapphire.
When you made contact with Kathy in the parking lot of the Home Federal Savings Bank, did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I did.
What, if anything, did she tell you?
She told me several things.
As a basis for the officer's subsequent actions, including the search of the house.
Foundational, what's just for foundational as to what he did.
Well, there's no motion to suppress here, so he did something. I'm not arguing that he had a right to do it.
All right, just ask him what he did next.
What'd you do next?
After talking to her,
Yes. We won't ask you what it was.
Just based on what she told you, what did you do?
we went to her apartment, and
What was your purpose in going to the apartment?
the main purpose to go there was to check for the suspect.
Were you looking for anything else in particular?
Yes,
What was that?
a weapon.
And that was based on some information that had been provided you?
That's correct.
How did you gain entrance to Kathy's apartment?
With a key that was given to me by Kathy Lee's boyfriend. First name is Jason. I can't recall his last name.
Prantiel or Prantel, would that be the last name?
That's correct.
And did she voluntarily agree that you should go into the apartment and look?
Yes, she did.
Did you then enter the apartment?
Yes, I did.
What did you see once you got inside?
Once I was sure that no one was in the apartment, I had Kathy and her boyfriend come in, and Kathy Lee directed me to a bedroom and showed me a purse that was on the floor.
How many bedrooms were in this apartment?
One bedroom.
And where was the purse located within the single bedroom?
It was on the floor against the east wall of the bedroom.
Was it near any particular item of furniture or equipment?
It was, as you walked toward it, it would have been just to the left of a nightstand, which had a telephone on it, and next to the nightstand would have been a bed. Bed would have been, all these things would have been to the right of the purse.
How close to the nightstand would the purse have been?
I can't give you,
Let's say using a foot as a frame of reference, would it be closer or farther away than a foot?
I'd say a foot and a half, something like that.
Did you look in the purse?
Yes, I did.
What, if anything, did you see?
Just by observing it on the floor, I could see a handgun in the purse.
And once you caught sight of this handgun, what did you do?
I seized the entire purse as it was and turned it over to an evidence technician.
Did you do anything with the contents at that particular time?
No, I didn't.
Or take the gun out?
No, I didn't.
Were you given any, or coming in possession of any keys at that time or a later date?
Yes, I got a set of keys on a ring from Kathy Lee also.
And why did you take those keys?
Kathy told me that they had keys that belonged to the vehicle that was parked across the street. And there were also keys to the suspect's residences on them.
Did you process those keys into evidence?
Yes, I turned those keys over to an evidence technician also.
I'll show you what has been labeled by us containing the paper bag of People's Exhibit 20. These are keys that
Yes, these are the keys that I received.
from Kathy Lee.
From Kathy Lee, yes.
What did you do with the keys?
Once I had them, I turned them over to an evidence technician.
And they were processed into evidence?
Yes.
Your Honor, we have a purse, brown in color, labeled People's Exhibit 23.
So marked.
And a short-barreled Smith & Wesson stainless steel revolver, 5-shot, 38 special caliber, labeled People's Exhibit 24.
So marked.
I'm going to show you People's Exhibit 23. Are you familiar with that particular purse?
Yes, this is the purse that I saw in the apartment.
And now showing you People's Exhibit 24. Are you familiar with that particular item?
This appears to be the same weapon that I saw
In the purse?
in the purse, yes.
Did you take any other items and process them or have them processed into evidence at that particular time?
A cassette tape from the telephone answering machine at the residence was also taken.
Later on the 5th of November, that same day, did you arrange to meet Kathy at Homicide headquarters in downtown San Diego and have a more thorough interview with her?
Yes, I did.
Was that interview taped
Yes, it was.
in its entirety?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross down.
Yes, thank you. Sir, when you seized the, did you ever take any pictures of the, you didn't take any pictures of the purse at the time you seized it, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And the purse was not empty as it is now, is it?
No, it was not empty.
It was pretty full of items?
It had items in it, yeah.
Okay. And laying right on top of it was the gun, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you remember what side of the purse it was on at all?
No, I don't recall which side of the purse it was on.
Sir, was the purse put into a evidence bag at some time?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And showing you the Your Honor, I'm going to substitute or put this bag in a newer bag when, at some point, but this is the original bag. Is this what would appear to be the
For the record, is that the contents of the purse?
Yes, Your Honor.
This looks like the bag, yes.
Okay. And so the purse and the contents were put in that bag?
That's correct.
I think you didn't go through the purse at any time, did you?
I was present when items were looked at in the purse, but I didn't physically.
Okay. So, but you weren't the one who was either identifying or writing down what was in the purse?
No, I think my evidence technician did those things.
And do you remember when you got the key ring?
I got the key ring while I was still at the apartment.
Okay, so it was while you were still at the apartment. Did you see where it came from?
No, I didn't. No.
And do you know whether it had been in the apartment or whether Kathy Lee had possession of it?
It came from somewhere within the apartment when she handed it to me. She got it from somewhere within the apartment.
Okay, so she went and retrieved it in the apartment and came back and gave it to you? Or you're not even sure of
She
that?
picked it up from somewhere and gave it to me, but I don't know from what place she picked it.
That's fine. Thank you, I have no further questions.
Your direct?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a 3x5 color photograph of a person I'd like to mark people's next in order.
Here's 25.
Thank you. I'll hand you this photograph that's now been labeled People's Exhibit 25. Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the purse as you found it within a foot or so of the nightstand in the bedroom of Kathy Lee's apartment on the 5th?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Cross?
No.
Witness be excused.
Objection. None, Your Honor. Just subject to recall.
All right, thank you very much, Detective.
Thank you.
People call Detective Wayne Mathena.
You going to be using these exhibits?
No, in fact, I'll take them off.
Stand right here, sir. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give and the matter of opinion before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Sir, would you please have a seat in the witness seat?
Afternoon, sir.
How are you?
And sir, for the record, could you please state your full name and spell your last name?
My last name is Mathena, M-A-T-H-E-N-A. First name is Carlisle, C-A-R-L-I-S-L-E. Middle name is Wayne.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Detective Mathena. Where do you work?
San Diego Police Department,
In what capacity?
a detective in the Homicide Division.
On Team 6 by any chance?
Yes.
How long have you been involved, how long have you been employed as a homicide detective?
I've been in homicide 2 years now.
And for the police department in general?
20.
Calling your attention to the November 5th, 1989, were you also involved in the double homicide at 1041 Cypress Street?
Yes.
What were your duties in that particular date as part of Team 6?
When I arrived at the scene, I was told by Sergeant Calloway to interview Brad Wright.
And after you did that interview, did you then go to another location to look for additional evidence?
Yes, I did.
Where was that?
Calle del Cielo, I believe is the name of the first one.
Would that happen to be 8320 Calle de Cielo, La Jolla?
Yes.
What kind of residence is situated there, or was on November 5th?
Well, my estimation is a palatial estate.
Okay. How was it that you gained entrance to that residence on that day?
With a search warrant,
And how was the search warrant procured?
telephonic search warrant.
What were you looking for in particular when you gained entrance to the Calle de Cielo residence?
I had information that there was a suicide note in that residence. I was also looking for any other evidence, instruments that would indicate a motive, state of mind, or evidence for a double homicide that had occurred.
When you entered the residence with this telephonic search warrant, did you see anybody inside?
No, I did not.
Was anybody with you when you conducted the search?
Detective Richard Allen was with me.
Was he the gentleman that just left the courtroom?
Yes, he is.
Now, did you seize any items at Calle de Cielo at that time?
Yes, I did.
What was it that you seized?
I seized some papers that were on the kitchen counter, and I seized a small black gun case that was in a bedroom, and photograph that was in a, I guess a retreat or a leisure room, which was southeast of the kitchen.
Now let's talk about the gun case. Where was it that you found that?
It's in a bedroom. The bedroom is located on the north side of the house. It was located in a vanity that is on the south wall.
And where in this vanity was the gun case located?
In a drawer.
Can you tell us where it was inside the drawer? What was there in the drawer with it?
Well, it appeared to be ladies' clothing, and that's all I remember is just ladies' wear.
Okay. Was the gun case under, on top, in the middle of all this clothing?
It was sitting on top of the clothing.
Was the drawer of the vanity open or closed?
It was closed when I first saw it.
And did you open the gun case once you retrieved it?
Yes, I did.
What did you see inside?
2 boxes of ammunition.
Could you describe those 2 boxes, please?
One box, as I remember, was a container that held 20 rounds of a .38 caliber ammunition, with 5 missing. There was 15 rounds in the box. The other one was a 50 box of ammunition, .38 caliber special.
I'd like to show you, Your Honor, we've had a black gun case with 2 boxes of ammunition, one American Eagle, 50 center fire pistol cartridges, the other one a premium Hydroshock cartridge case by Federal containing 20, or at least designed to contain 20 cartridges, labeled People's Exhibit 26.
All right, the black case in context of 26.
Thank you. I'll hand you People's 26 with its contents and ask you if you can identify the case and what's inside.
It appears to be the same case that I found in the vanity and the same boxes.
Can you open the cartridge box that's labeled Hydroshock? Now, for the record, what have you removed from that cartridge box?
It's a ammunition holder containing 13 rounds of ammunition.
Designed to contain how many?
20.
There are 20 holes in that red plastic holder.
That's correct.
Is it in a different condition now than it was when you first seized it?
Yes.
How was it when you first seized it?
There were 2 more live rounds in it, as I remember.
So there were 5 live rounds and 5 that were missing?
There were 15 live rounds and 5 that were missing.
I stand corrected. Why don't you reassemble the exhibit, please? Now, why don't you open up the American Eagle 50 cartridge box? And what do you find inside?
50 rounds of ammunition.
And are those in the same number and condition that they were when you found them?
They appear to be, yes.
Okay, why don't you reassemble that exhibit, please? Now I'm going to, Your Honor, I have a placard with 2 11 by 14 color photographs showing the interior of a residence labeled People's Exhibit 31. Now maybe, Detective, you can swivel around here a little bit and look at these 2 photographs labeled A and B. Are you familiar with what they depict?
Yes.
How was that?
The exhibits that I just looked at and what I found in the vanity.
Now, both of them, A appears to be a farther away view, B a close-up view of the same particular cartridge box and case. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is this the way they appeared when you first laid eyes on the cartridge box?
No, the drawer was closed. When I opened the drawer, this case was closed. I opened the case to see what was in it, and then both boxes were closed, and I opened one of the boxes and photographed it.
And that would be the Hydroshocks?
Yes.
And the Hydroshocks as shown in the photograph, as opposed to the way they are now, are properly depicted as how they appear with 5 missing cartridges?
That's correct.
And that's photograph B we're talking about?
Yes.
Now, you're telling us that the cartridge box was on top of all these clothes that were in the open drawer?
That's correct.
The drawer was closed at that time?
That's correct.
What about the suitcase with the clothes that are open on the floor in front of the vanity? What was the condition of that?
I don't really remember that particular item.
It could have been closed or it could have been opened as part of your search?
Could have been. More than likely was opened by us.
You said you went to the kitchen counter of Calle de Cielo and you found some documents that you seized?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, we have People's Exhibit 27, which contains an envelope on Walter Maund, M-A-U-N-D, attorney at law, stationery addressed to Elisabeth Broderick, canceled November 2nd, 1989. A 3-page letter on Daniel T. Broderick stationery, signed by Kathleen Cafaro, and dated October 27, 1989. And another 1-page piece of stationery on Walter Maund's letterhead with certain indications on it. I would ask that these all be labeled People's Exhibit 27.
All right, plastic casing and its contents are People's 27.
Thank you. Looking at People's 27, are you familiar with what's in that exhibit?
Yes, this is a letter that I found on the kitchen counter.
And you're referring to the October 27th letter written by Kathleen Cafaro?
Actually, both of them.
Okay.
The one dated October 31st also.
And the envelope as well was found there?
Yes.
Your Honor, we have People's Exhibit 28, a plastic container, envelope actually, that contains a letter on Walter Maund's, or a form on Walter Maund's stationery dated 11/2/89, a 2-page letter on Daniel T. Broderick's stationery, signed by Kathleen Cafaro, dated November 1, 1989. I would ask that those be included as People's Exhibit number 28.
So marked.
Are you familiar with that particular exhibit?
These appear to be other letters that were on the kitchen counter.
And seized at the same time?
Yes.
We now have People's Exhibit 29, a legal pad, numerous pages with pen writing on the top 3 pages and the 3rd, 4th, and 5th pages being torn off roughly mid-page, labeled People's Exhibit 29.
More accurately, it's 8.5 by 11 pad, isn't it?
That's correct.
It's so marked.
Are you familiar with People's Exhibit 29?
Yes, this was also on the kitchen counter.
And seized by yourself at the same time that you seized the other 2 exhibits?
That's correct.
Now, did you seize, well, Your Honor, I have People's Exhibit 38, a picture with some newsprint attached to it and a glass frame labeled People's Exhibit 30.
So marked.
Are you familiar with People's Exhibit 30?
Yes.
How was that?
I seized this also.
Where was that located?
As I stated, what I call a leisure or a retreat, which was southeast of the and kind of attached to the kitchen.
What was in this room besides this picture here?
There was a television set, books, a display cabinet with other pictures, mementos, family memento type things.
And where in the room was that particular picture?
It was on the on display inside a display cabinet. It was not covered. It was out in open display with books and other family items.
Prominently displayed for anybody that might want to walk through that room and see it?
Yes.
along with other knickknacks?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a poster board with 4 8x10 color photographs showing the interior of what appears to be a kitchen, labeled People's Exhibit 32.
So Art,
Thank you. Are you familiar with what is depicted in People's Exhibit 32?
Yes, that's what the kitchen looked like when I arrived.
And does that fairly and accurately depict the kitchen and the countertop and the items on the countertop when you first entered the residence on that day to execute the search warrant?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Did you, on that same day, execute another search warrant?
Yes, I did.
Where was that executed?
It was on Morning Way in, I guess you would call it the, above the Claremont area.
Did that also have been La Jolla?
Upper La Jolla, yes.
And was this also by a search warrant that you entered that residence?
Yes, I did.
Would that have been 3133 Morning Way in La Jolla?
Yes, it is.
And who went with you with that, on that particular search?
Sergeant Calloway, Luis Rodriguez, detective, Richard Allen, a detective, and I believe that was all.
When you entered the residence with a search warrant, did you find anybody inside?
No, I did not.
And what did you do next?
We began searching the residence, starting with the floor that we entered on, proceeded to an upstairs bedroom area. I did not go upstairs. And then searched an area below the ground floor level, which is a parking or garage area.
Did you find anything there?
Which area?
In the carport area?
Yes.
What was that?
I'd have to look at my receipt and inventory to find out exactly what was found in that area.
You didn't have that handy?
No, I don't.
Okay, maybe I do. Maybe if I showed you an object, it might refresh your memory. That might be possible.
Yes.
I have a framed, appears to be an 8x10 photograph in a black frame showing a family setting People's Exhibit 33.
so Art,
Thank you. Let me show you People's Exhibit 33. Does that jog your memory as to what you might have found in the carport?
I believe that was found amid some other items, several boxes in the carport area. The Jaguar and that looked like someone was moving in numerous boxes in the carport.
I noticed that there was a kind of a black magic marker X across the man's face. Was that the condition of the photograph when you seized it?
Yes, it was.
And just to go back for a second, the picture that you seized at Calle de Cielo, the newsprint, the most hated man in America caught with his pants down, adjacent to the picture of the appears to be the same man. Was that also in the frame when you seized it?
Yes.
Now, did you seize any documentation from the Morning Way condominium?
Yes, we seized some letters and other correspondence from attorneys.
Where did you happen to find those?
Most of them were found on I guess a window settee, which I assume is a dining area, although there was no furniture it was on the east side of the ground floor level.
Your Honor, I have a plastic envelope containing a form on Walter Mann's letterhead dated 10/27/89, a photostat of a 3-page letter on Walter Mann's stationery dated October 27th, 1989, and these are contained in a plastic envelope labeled People's Exhibit 34.
So marked.
Thank you. Are you familiar with People's Exhibit 34?
This would appear to be one of the letters I found
And that would have been where, sir?
on the, I believe on the settee in the dining area.
Your Honor, we have a photostat of a 2-page court order, signature stamped Federico Castro, dated September 22nd, 1989, in case number D215518, regarding marriage of Daniel T. Broderick and Elisabeth A. Broderick.
Mark Peoples 35.
Thank you. Are you familiar with 35?
This also is one of the papers I seized.
On the settee or someplace inside the Morning Way?
I believe it was on the settee. However, I also seized some papers that were on the kitchen counter in that condominium, and I'm not sure where these were.
Okay, you're talking about the Morning Way condominium?
Morning Way, yes.
Your Honor, we have another document, photostat, 2-page letter on Daniel T. Broderick's stationery dated September 19th, 1989. We have that marked People's Exhibit 36.
So marked.
Thank you. Let's take a look at that exhibit, People's 36.
This also is a paper that I seized.
Again, in the Morning Way.
In the Morning Way condominium, yes.
Lastly, Your Honor, we have a plastic envelope containing a 1-page association of attorney regarding notice of appeal, signed by Elisabeth A. Broderick and Herman Hosling. May that be marked People's Exhibit 37.
So marked.
Thank you. And now handing you People's 37.
Also a paper I seized from Morning Way.
Okay. Are there other items there that you did not seize?
Yes, there was.
What are we talking about when you say that?
Well, there were stacks and stacks of papers. I would say there was probably 4 or 5 stacks, anywhere from 3 to 6 to 8 inches tall.
Did you make an effort to go through these other items to see if there was anything of significance?
Yes, I did.
And did you choose anything from those stacks?
I chose what I felt was in the purview or scope of the search warrant.
In either the Calle de Cielo residence of the defendant or her condo at Morning Way, did you find anything that might pass as a suicide note?
No, I did not.
In either residence?
No, I did not.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Cross out.
Sir, when you went in and searched the Calle de Cielo home, you had a camera, is that correct?
Richard Allen had a camera.
Okay. And were you in separate rooms or were you searching together?
We searched within the same room at the same time.
Okay. And when you opened the drawer, you found, obviously, there wasn't much doubt that these bullets, were they both inside the black case?
The boxes?
Yes.
Yes, they were.
Okay. So when you opened the drawer, the only thing you saw was the black case and the bullets were
Concealed.
concealed within that black case. Did you notice right away that was it apparent that appeared to be a gun case?
To me, it appeared to be a gun case.
Okay. And so did you call Detective Allen and say, we better get a picture here to show exactly how I found it when I first opened the drawer?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So we don't have, you have, while you have pictures of how it became later, you have no pictures of how you found it when you first saw it.
No, I do not.
And you knew that you were looking for a gun, didn't you?
No.
Objection argumentative. Overruled.
And I'm sorry.
Answer stands. Said no.
All right. You knew a gun had been used?
Yes.
did you not? And so you know that you were looking for evidence associated with the gun, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And so I take it as soon as you saw a gun case, you realized that this may be evidence in this case?
Yes.
Okay. The time that you found the, at Calle de Cielo, you see some items that, off of the counter, and this would be the counter that's represented in People's 32, A, B, C, and D?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see all of those items?
Did I seize everything that was on the counter?
All the paper items?
All of the paper items I felt was pertinent, yes.
Okay. Were there legal items that you did not take?
I don't remember if there were any legal items. I know there were other papers.
Okay. And are you able to see in those pictures where these were the items that I'm picking up now that were found in Calle de Cielo, is that correct? Okay. Are you able to see these items in these pictures?
I don't know. I can try.
Okay. The notepad, were you able to see that in the picture?
Yes.
Your Honor, what I would ask that the witness bring to a photograph around so we can all see it as it points it up. Thank you.
Were you able to see the notepad in the picture?
Yes.
Okay. And the notepad is open to a page, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to see the, there's a cover sheet and, where there's a sheet of paper with Walter Mond's name on the top, and then underneath it in this envelope is something with Daniel T. Broderick. Do you know whether you're able to see that in the?
I can't specifically pick that out. These papers are all covered in the jumble.
Okay, it might have been, and it might have been in the middle of the stack or the bottom of the stack.
Very possible.
Okay. Were these paper clipped? Okay, let me finish here so you can put it down, sir. And there's another one in here that is Walter Mond 1031, and underneath it, at least in here, is something with Daniel Broderick.
Yes.
Do you know whether you can see that in there, or again, is it?
I can't pick it out specifically, no.
Okay. Now, the pieces of paperwork that are here, and we'll look at first at People's 28 for identification. Were all these three pieces, there appears to be three pieces of paper, were they all stapled together when you first found them?
To my knowledge, at least I did not remove any staples. If they were stapled, they would have still been stapled unless they were unstapled by someone else.
Okay. So you don't know how, specifically, how these might have become unstapled?
No.
Okay. You remember specifically these two being together?
No.
Okay. Do you remember whether these were in an envelope or out of an envelope?
I believe everything was out of an envelope.
So you don't have any memory now of an envelope being associated with these?
Only that there was envelopes on the counter.
Okay. I take it that, okay, going to people 27, again, there seems to be just a normal cover letter saying enclosed, please find a letter from someone else. That's what that appears to be?
Yes.
Okay, and it indicates a letter from Kathleen Cafaro, and underneath that is a letter from Kathleen, signed by Kathleen Cafaro?
Yes.
Okay. So this appears to be a 3-page letter with a cover sheet, is that correct?
That's correct.
You don't know whether these were stapled together?
No.
Okay. And the envelope, there's an envelope that's dated, as the district attorney pointed out, 11/2/89. That's at least a postmark on it. Do you know whether this envelope, whether these things were in the envelope?
No. What I did when I picked things up, those items that were in a very close proximity to each other were put in separate envelopes, like they were separated or paper clipped together. But I have no knowledge whether they particularly went to a specific envelope.
Do you know whether this envelope was stapled? It appears to have 2 staple holes in it. Is that correct, this envelope?
It appears to have a staple hole in it.
One here and one here.
All right, I can't see that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know whether this was in fact stapled to either one of these items?
No, I don't.
Okay. And I take it that you don't have any notes now that can reconstruct it?
No.
And is this the way that you seized it, these kind of envelopes?
No. We did not have these plastic envelopes. When we seized it, we either paper clipped it and put it in a paper bag as to room
Now,
location.
are these the only items that you seized from Cali de Cielo, or you're not?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so there may have been other items that you seized,
Yes.
but whatever you seized came from that counter area?
As far as paperwork is concerned?
Yes.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Was there other legal paperwork in that residence?
I don't believe I saw any other legal paperwork in the residence at Calle de Cielo.
Okay. Do you remember going into any of the rooms where there was a box, appeared to be a legal box with lots of papers in it?
I went into all of the rooms that I could go into within the main household.
Okay, and you don't remember seeing any kind of paperwork in any kind of legal box, like a storage box, the kind that you see people keeping legal papers in?
I don't remember seeing one.
Okay. And were the rooms that appeared to be empty, as if someone was moving out at all, or do you recall that?
I don't recall it appearing that they were moving out. I do remember the house appeared to be in disarray to me. There were boxes, clothing strewn about. The house just appeared to have been very unkempt.
Did you take pictures of each room in the house?
We took pictures, I believe, of only those areas where we seized something.
So the only areas that you know you took pictures of are the dresser, where you found the gun case. Did you take a picture of where you found the picture?
Yes.
Okay. And you took a picture of the countertop?
Yes.
Now, you sometime later went and did a search warrant at Morning Way, is that correct?
That's correct.
And how did Morning Way appear? Did it appear to be that somebody was living there full-time, furniture in every room?
No. It appeared someone was moving in or out.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that there was some boxes that appeared that were either, there were items that were in boxes,
Yes.
not put away?
Yes.
When you were in Morning Way, did you notice any, you see some items there, did you?
Yes.
Did you take pictures of the areas where you seized items?
As I remember, I don't believe there were pictures taken. I may be wrong, since I wasn't taking the photographs.
So on that time, when you went looking for evidence, you did not take a camera with you that you can recall, or you don't recall?
I don't recall
Okay.
pictures being taken.
And you showed us some letters, and this is again, number 37, number 36, number 35, and number 34. These you recall seizing from one area or another at Morning Way?
Yes.
And you're not certain what area they were taken from?
I'm not certain whether those were taken from what I call the settee or from the kitchen.
Okay. And where was the settee located?
It's located on the east side of the condo, approximately one step above the kitchen. It's a step-up dining area, I believe, and this is adjoining the dining area.
Okay, so there would be some kind of counter in between the kitchen and the dining area?
There's a countertop separating the kitchen and dining area.
Okay, and there was some papers on the settee in that area?
Yes.
And was the papers that were in the kitchen, were they on that countertop that separated those two?
Yes, I believe they were.
And how far would they be from each other?
6 to 8 feet.
Okay. And do you... At that time, did you see some other items that were also there, did you not?
Sees this photograph.
Okay. And did you see some other paperwork?
There was other paperwork that apparently hasn't been brought out.
Now, there was some other items besides the ones that you've been shown at the Morningside that you also took, is that correct?
Morning Way?
Morning Way, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. And showing you,
Please see.
I'm just not very trainable at that.
I'm trying.
I'll remember the last day.
I'll be trained by tomorrow, Your Honor.
Promises, promises.
The showing you C4 identification, you recognize this bag as, have you ever seen this bag before?
Well, it's getting more tattered each time I see it. Yes, it's the bag that I initialed on October 22nd, 1990.
Okay, and could you just quickly look inside and tell me if that just appears to be additional paperwork that you found?
Just for the record, defendant C is a brown paper bag and containing paperwork. Go ahead.
Yes, I remember seizing this.
And was that, do you remember where in relationship that was seized to the other paper that you've already identified from Morning Way, or is it that just didn't divide it up that way?
Well, I would like to say this is on the settee, as I remember. But there were several stacks of papers there.
Okay. Do you remember that the other papers coming out of the bag too? The time of when you first identified these papers at a prior hearing, that they also came out of this bag?
I believe they did.
Okay. So you didn't have two bags, divide them up, you just took from those two areas paperwork and put them in one bag, as best as you can remember?
As I remember, well, I want to go back because it would have been normal procedure to put some in a bag from the kitchen and some in a bag from another location. It's not normal, and I normally don't put them all in one bag, so I don't know.
The, you indicated you found a picture in the garage.
Yes.
Where in the garage? That was in a box?
It was in amongst other items. There were several boxes in the garage. It was found in there.
Do you know what were in the other items that were in the box?
It just appeared to be items that had been packed for moving. Household items, etc.
Okay, so there were other household items there, paperwork, do you remember what was in that box, if you can just remember?
Paperwork, I don't remember specifically.
Okay, that's right. And you didn't take a picture at that time of that, is that correct? When you were at Morning Way, did you search anything else there besides the garage and the apartment?
No, I did not go upstairs. I searched the ground floor level, and I went down into the garage.
And was there a car located there?
It was a Jaguar convertible, I believe, red. Or I strike that, I don't know the color.
And at any time, either residence, did you see a truck,
No, I did not.
a Suburban?
No, I did not.
So you've not done any search of any Suburban?
I didn't see a Suburban at either residence.
Okay, and you didn't do a search of the Suburban involved in this case?
Not at that time.
Did you do one at some other time?
Yes.
I believe that's beyond the scope, Your Honor, so I'll go into that at some other time.
Yes. Might this be a good time to take our recess, Mr. Earl?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our afternoon recess at this time. Please remember the admonition not to discuss the case among yourselves or anyone else discuss it with you, nor form any opinions until it's finally submitted to you. And before you leave, will both counsel stipulate that I can just refer to the admonition from now on instead of repeating the whole thing?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sure you understand it, and you get sick of it, and I get sick of it. Thank you. See you at 3:05. Matter of the people of the State of California versus Elisabeth M. Broderick. Court finds all members of the jury panel are present, all the counsel are present, Ms. Broderick is present. The witness is back on the witness stand. You're still under oath, Detective. You may resume, Mr. Early.
Detective, just in what has been marked as C for identification, there's what appears to be a booklet or a manuscript. There's a black ring that's with it, the kind that binds papers together. They were attached at one point in time, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And you've had an opportunity to review some photographs of the items that you did seize, even at Morning Way?
Yes.
Okay, and again, the paperwork you seized, but you're not able to tell where from the photographs within Morning Way they came from?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, at some point later on, and Your Honor, I would just ask if I could go through the scope of the...
They don't object, you can.
No objection, we've discussed it.
Go ahead.
Sir, did you at some point in time find that there had been a Suburban with a license plate load 'em up that belonged to Ms. Broderick that had been seized?
Yes, I did.
And was that located in a police property room or bay?
In our impound lot at the police headquarters.
Okay. And at some point in time pursuant to a search warrant or eventually you ended up searching it, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And showing you some photographs, and I've marked them, Your Honor, as D, and it's a series of photographs, but they're all just marked as D. A series of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photographs. Right. Sir, could you look at those photographs?
Yes.
Okay. And does that appear to be pictures of the Suburban at various angles?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And the Suburban had a number of items in them?
Yes.
Okay. And does that appear to be accurate as at least what was found in the Suburban?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, sir. Next, did you find any other Spyro notebooks that were located at either the apartment or the house?
spiral specifically,
Yes.
I don't,
Notebooks like white paper that have wire spirals around them.
I don't remember finding any others.
Do you remember seeing any room, any other room other than the areas you've described in either the condo or the house where there was any legal papers?
I don't specifically remember any others.
Would you say that there was, that there appeared to be lots of legal papers in the house?
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you, sir.
Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. I know we have a 3x5 color photograph showing a picture in a cardboard box. May that be labeled People's 39?
What happened to 38?
I don't know. Good
It's been
question.
pre-marked.
Yeah, it's another pre-market
All
exhibit.
right, that's 39. Go ahead.
Showing you People's 39, is that fair and accurate depiction of the family portrait that you found in the carport with Daniel Broderick's face X'd out at the Morning Way condominium?
That's how it looked when I first saw it, yes.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
The cross?
No, Your Honor.
Witness be excused.
Yeah, yes, subject to recall, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Detective.
Thank you.